We're having an amazing session today with Laura C. and Mia, and we have Elizabeth Cooper back with us, everyone. Isn't that great news? So,
Good to be here.
and we've got Tanya with us, so, and obviously Rob, and
Hello.
Rachel Abraham.
I'm coming. There I am.
Come in.
It's
Busy
coming.
pressing all the
Yes,
buttons.
I am.
Mm.
Hey guys.
Well, a very warm welcome if it's your first ever creative space. I mean, have we got anyone new on tonight? Just put a little message in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. We love kind of seeing what nations are.
Sue's here from South Africa. We love Sue.
Oh, Sue. Sue is family now.
Yay.
That's
Oh.
fun. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, we're just so this is a creative community and we love exploring Yahweh together. We love Jesus and we love being union flow artists and just finding that synergy with all the different creative expressions where they overlap. And actually the conversation is about what is God doing right now? What is God doing with you? What is he doing with me? What is he doing in the bigger picture of the body of Christ together? And it's such an interesting conversation to have. We've been having this now for well over 3 years, and it's taken us down lots of journeys, lots of amazing spaces within his heart. We've gone deep, we've gone high, and we love creating a space for many voices, for other people within our creative space community to kind of come on tonight. So
Yeah.
tonight we have the very precious and beautiful and absolutely amazing Laura C, who is a good friend of ours now, and I can't wait to speak to her about sound, worship, and music. And we'll have a brilliant chat about that. And then we've also got Mia, who is a fine artist, and we'll kind of share how we met. And it's going to be really fun, kind of looking at her art and just hearing what God does with her expression. So that's what tonight is all about. But I just want to throw it over to Elizabeth Cooper because Elizabeth actually helped me to start Creative Space along with Rob and Rachel. And she hasn't been on for quite a while. So it's so good to have you back, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Share
It's
with everybody
been,
what's
what's been
going on.
doing?
It's good to be back. Always good to be with you and with all of you. And especially, I just want to honor Janine, Rachel, Rob, Tanya as well. And I think I've said this before, but thank you for holding the space for me as I've had kind of a really interesting season in my personal life and busy season with everything that the Lord is doing. And so but creative space is in my heart. The creatives are in my heart, and really beyond even just the creatives proper is the whole concept of creativity and worship. I'm a worship leader from, I've been doing this 25 years at this point. A long time. I like to say I started when I was two. And so, but doing it a long time, started when I was young, and um, seeing the progression of, I kind of came out of the gate as this very non-traditional worship leader. And so seeing this progression of the forging into the spontaneous, the prophetic, the flow, and all the different kind of labels that a new worship movement kind of goes through, the terms that change and shift and whatever. And we tried to quantify it a little better, but really the big picture, what this is about is creatives in general and all of it being an expression of worship, right? And so I love being with people who know that they're here as creatives in the earth. They're here to create. And so thank you for having me, and just, big time honored to you guys for, carrying this in your hearts and everything that we're moving forward to. I'll kind of give you a little quick catch up on what I've been up to and kind of some things that are on the horizon that I think some of you may be very interested in. I've been doing a lot of what we kind of call quantum life intensives, life transformation intensives, and we're seeing huge, big, awakening in people's hearts in moving forward in being creators in their life. Because whether we know it or not, we're conscious or aware of it or not, we are creating our reality. We were created by the creator as creatives. And so no matter again, if you're aware of it or not, you're creating your reality. So these intensives are all about getting back in the power seat of your life, using these quantum tools for health, wellness, and really creating the life that you were made to live. You were born to live. What's on your scroll? We want to see people live that out fully. So I've been super busy traveling around, doing these things, getting a breathwork certification. I've been studying that for now over a year, and getting that certification. So I'm breathwork certified and doing a lot of work with breathwork, meditation, all of these things, which are really a huge component and a huge key tool and means of worship, right? Our very breath is worship.
That's right.
It's everything we do,
So good.
it is worship.
Mhm.
And so it's
So
just
good.
amazing. I've been very busy doing that, going to Israel. We are in Israel multiple times a year. Of course, we've had a little hiccup called a war, but
Yeah.
but we've still been there. I was there in June, and bombs bursting in air and all. And so we're actually headed back in April. So April 1st through 10th, we have a tour to Israel. Myself, Dr. Yana Sanders, and Darla Fields. We are doing a trip to Israel, and this trip is going to be really, really special. It's not going to be kind of like a normal tour. We do tours for other ministries, but when you come with just us, it's a little different, and so it's going to be really, engaging with the land, finding out what is our place here. Why is Israel important? And if I would encourage you, if your heart is drawn to Israel, your heart is calling you, you feel Israel calling to you, go. We always say go while the door is open, because we don't know when the door will be closed. We learned that on October 7th, right? And then it was a year until we were back in the land. Go when the door is open, and the door is open. And when we were there in June, it was one of the most beautiful trips that we've had. The connection with the people, the connection with the land, the connection with engaging with the Lord in that space was just out of this world. And so if you are interested in that, I have a few spaces left on my tour. So not a lot. We're keeping it a small group, but if you're interested, you should come. Really, I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, those of you who know me know I'm passionate about Israel, and there are reasons for that. But if your heart is calling you, and if you feel Israel calling, answer it. Answer the call and go. And you have an opportunity to go April 1st through 10th with
Yeah,
us.
Amazing.
And it's gonna be so
But
awesome. I'm just firming up some interesting things that we've never done before on a tour with our contacts in Israel, and this is just it's gonna be really special. So let me know. You can go to my website if you're interested in the details, or reach out to me. I can put my email in the chat here. Most of you, I think a lot of you are friends with me on Facebook. Feel free to message any way you need to contact me, and we'll get you going if that's for you.
Awesome.
So, all
Really
right.
awesome.
And then one more little thing about what we're up to. We just released. This has been years in the making. It's called the Hebrew Ancients app. And we have been working on releasing this app for the Living Letters, myself, Dr. Yana Sanders, Darla Fields, and it is just released last week. So
Okay.
again, years
Well
in the
done.
making. I spent a whole year composing tracks for every single one of the Living Letters, and this project is one of probably the greatest bodies of work of my life as a in the composer component.
Wow.
And so just incredible, and we're very, very happy. So it's on Apple, it's on Google Play, anywhere you get apps, there it is. And so check that out.
Wow.
And
What's it called again, Elizabeth? What's it?
the name is the Hebrew Ancients, and it looks like the logo is like black with a gold, like an ox. An ox.
We can probably put it in our Creative Space Facebook group after let's put it in there and tag everyone in it tomorrow, maybe, because that sounds amazing. I bet I can imagine how much work has gone into that. And
it's amazing. And Yana and Darla did the meditations, and it's fantastic. So it's amazing.
Well done.
So, all right. I think that's it for me, for my little catch up. Thank you for giving me a little bit of time to kind of talk about what I'm up to.
Oh, we love you, Elizabeth. We love what you bring. Yeah, we have missed you so much. And it's an honor to, whenever you are available to kind of come on these calls. I know people are so blessed by all that you carry in your release and your meditations. They are amazing. And Elizabeth's going to be doing a breath meditation or a meditation, not sure what she's going to do tonight. So, and it will be absolutely epic. I love people. This is why I love Laura as well. I love people who carry the realm. You hear the frequency of God on their breath. What they say, they carry the cloud, the people of the realm. And look, Elizabeth, you're also one of those people. And we're all different, and we all carry a different expression, a different part of his heart. And that is so important. That's why it's so beautiful when we're able to come together on calls like this and grow and just, get arc and spark together. That's what we love to say. What about you, Rachel? Have you got any news?
Well, I just want to tell everyone about Joyfest UK, to be honest, and Joyfest US. We are coming back as well. So we got we got 3 Joyfest this year, like the same as last year, just went boom last year. So I just wanted to let everyone know that tickets are now live for the Joyfest UK. That's May 30th to June the 1st. So beautiful time of year to come to the UK. So if you
come to the UK, guys.
America, we have got a bunch of Americans coming over already. We get the Europeans, British people, South Africans come as well. We'll have Charles with us. So that's going to be super fun. We got save the dates for US Joy Fest now. That's the 23rd to the 25th of October. That'll be going out on all our socials, so don't worry if you don't grab the date now, but tickets are not available yet, but soon. One Joy Fest at a time.
And we're really excited for the UK Joy Fest because the UK has really pioneered Joy Fest, hasn't it?
Yeah. I realized today we did it before COVID Joy Fest, so it's been going a good while.
And I think there's not in America we're quite known. I think we're a little bit more hidden in the UK, and we're really hoping that the sound of the gospel and just the life that we have in him and just the worship and all that comes with that. There's so much life, isn't there, in engaging with each other at these conferences. And I think the conference scene did get a bit kind of, samey, and we're definitely a different, vibrant kind of sound, and we love just this presence, and the joy. And you'll not have been to anything like this if you haven't been to something and you're in the UK. Honestly, it's going to be really cool. So
We
come
love to
and join
party.
us. It's a lot of fun, isn't it, Rach?
Yes, it is.
That's-
And we're going to be doing the exhibition space again, like we did in the
yeah.
US Joy Fest. So we haven't done that before in the UK. So we've got a beautiful venue and a lovely space where we can set up like a healing pod, oils, and exhibition space for the arts and the music, like we did in the US as well. So if you are on Creative Space and you're interested in presenting your stuff in the UK Joy Fest, email Janine. It's janinejohnworship@gmail.com, and we'll lead you through the process of that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we had
Yeah, work in the flesh, isn't it? When you come into a space, it's like joining the heavens in the art, in the space, in the realms. It's just like it just explodes when it merges like that. It's amazing.
it was so cool, wasn't it, in America, just to see all the books that had been written and have been authored from this community, all the
Yeah,
songs that have been written,
totally.
all that quite amazing. Like the art always blows me away, the visual art, the poetry. There's businesses that have been started from this community. There's just so much that God is doing, and it's so exciting. That is a wave that's kind of been happening, and I feel like one wave's ended and a new wave is kind of starting again. That's how we feel at the moment. There's a lot of interesting conversations kind of being had. And so with our frequency exhibition, we curate it because we are looking to kind of put things together that are the vibe and the vibrancy of what we feel kind of God is doing. But it was amazing in America, wasn't it? It was just, we couldn't believe the amount of stuff we had from you guys. So yes, please email me because we would love to just have the frequency of what it carries all together. There's just a momentum on that, and there's just something extra. We've been using this word extra in our office recently. We like to be
We love the
extra.
extra.
We are extra.
And the extra.
Yeah. Even from America is our extra, isn't he? He's probably not on tonight, but he loves the extra. Yeah, so we'd love to include you guys in that, and actually we're looking how we can sell prints and just make, somebody from Creative Space actually made this.
Yes, I think Annie's on. I think she's online.
It's just so lovely to have beautiful things in your home that carry the frequency. Listen to, Laura's amazing music, or whoever.
Yeah.
Rob's, I know, is going to be starting a YouTube channel soon as well. So do you want to talk about that, Rob?
Yeah, it's already running. I've just gone official, so just on YouTube. Yeah. Channel is called Rob Townley Official, just in case there are any
others.
Non-official Rob Townleys lurking out there.
And of course, we've got our community Facebook group. So we love to hear what you guys are doing as well. And a lot of the times we invite people on to this forum from what's been engaged in the group. So that's generally kind of how we make space for people, is we see what it is that they're carrying already and how that kind of fits into the themes that we're feeling. And, and that's why Mia's on tonight, is because she shared her amazing art, and there's at one point there was poetry and her art kind of having this beautiful combination that was happening. So if feel free to share, whatever it is, whatever level you're at, it doesn't matter. We just love just to see what God's doing in people. So please share it in there. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Elizabeth and Rob. So we're going to do an Ascension meditation. Go for it, guys.
Rob, I'll have you start that in just a minute. I'll give a little preface here. So breath, the breath of life. It's connecting back with the breath is connecting with the eternal spectrum of the light of Yahweh. In Proverbs, it says that, well, our translation says that the soul of man is the lamp of the Lord in the body, right? We all kind of know this scripture. But really, when we look at the Hebrew, it actually says that the breath, the neshama, the breath of a person is the light of Yahweh in the uttermost, in our that fills our entire being. And so when we think about light, let's think about the entire spectrum. And we've kind of been touching on this even a few times during this, all of these different expressions of worship, all these different, the visual, what we hear, what we see, what we smell, what we sense in different ways. All of it is actually light. Everything is made of light, right? But in humanity, in science, in what we have been able to quantify thus far, we know this much of the spectrum of light, but we know that he is light. And everything that he is eternal. So there's an eternal spectrum of light that never ends, that surrounds, there is no end to his light. And we can perceive this much. We can quantify this much. But he's put what in our hearts? He's put eternity in our hearts. And so because of that, we actually have the ability to become aware, to open the eyes of our hearts, to make the decision, to make the choice to say, I'm going to actually engage with my heart. I'm going to engage with eternity in my heart. I'm going to engage with the eternal heart of Yahweh in my heart to open up my awareness to the eternal spectrum of light that I have perceived this much of, that science has perceived this much of, but we actually have the ability to perceive more. And as creatives, as we come into that place and we're connecting with our hearts, right? This is the foremost thing, is that we come back home to our hearts again, because where does he live? We are the tabernacle. We are the temple. We are the place. He sits down on a throne. He is seated on the throne in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. But he's here. Where does he make his home? Here. So I don't have to actually look beyond or outside myself. I need to come back home to my heart to connect and to then engage with eternity and the eternal spectrum of light. And every time you breathe in, we're going to kind of practice this today. Visualize, see, feel, connect again with the breath of life that holds the eternal spectrum of the light of Yahweh. So let's go ahead and kind of just take a deep breath as we're here. And Rob, I'll have you start that track. And we'll just kind of do some deep breaths. Maybe another time I'll kind of go into a little bit more about breath work. But for now, let's just do some breathing through our nose. Slowly in about 5 seconds, and I'll cue you for an immediate exhale. So you're going to imagine your breath like a circle. There's no break. There's no hold at the top. There's no hold at the bottom. We are in a fountain of life and light as we breathe. So breathe in through the nose and let it spill out. In. Let it spill out. See the circle in. Let it spill out. As you breathe in, every time, see that light filling. And we are actually made of light. We are created in the light, by the light. We're surrounded by light. And every breath we take is the breath of life that holds, that contains the eternal spectrum of the light of Yahweh. The light of Elohim. Feel it, sense it with everything in you, with every breath that you take, that light, that beautiful light. We connect with our hearts today. We come home. We feel. We see. We perceive. Breathe in and let it go. Breathe in and let it go. And as you breathe in this eternal spectrum of light, open your heart and perceive more. And that science has been able to quantify, that humanity has been able to perceive. We go into the awareness of more. And every time you breathe out, make a choice to just let go of limiting beliefs. You don't have to name them, you don't have to chase them down or even think about them, but make a choice. Say, I'm going to let go. I'm just going to let go of limiting beliefs. And I'm going to breathe in the eternal spectrum of light. And within the space of eternity in our hearts, find yourself suspended in light, weightless, floating, surrounded, safe. There are no problems here. There are no problems in heaven. And heaven is in me. I am weightless in the place of limitlessness, of all things are possible. No problems. Of light eternal. You weightless in the space of eternity. Your heart eternity. Your heart, the home of Yahweh, who holds the entirety of the universe. In Him, through Him, to Him are all things. In Him, the entirety of the universe. He is in me. I am in the universe, and the universe is in me. I'm in Yahweh, and He is in me. Breathe. The unbroken breath of life. Be. Don't have to do anything, just be. Just be. The unbroken love of Yahweh in the space of His eternal light. You don't have to do a thing. Just breathe. Just be. Love. The sparks, creation surround you. Let the sparks of creation inside of you come alive. Become aware of all you are. Not in striving or trying, but in the effortless play of your breath. A living, breathing tabernacle on the earth. Living, breathing worship, beauty, majesty on the earth. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Take another deep breath. Let it go. Begin to just kind of move in this space. You can move your hands, move your arms. Begin to kind of come back into present time and space here. Knowing that we don't leave the space of eternity. It's in our hearts, is who we are. It's who He's made us to be. And so, as we transition from this space into the next space of the expression of light, just within what we're doing today, the expression of worship, what we're doing today, carry with you the knowing and the awareness that every single thing that you are is worship, not limited to songs or frequency music or meditations, or it's in your very breath, it's in your very being, and the expression of you in the earth, the frequency of everything you are is worship to the King of the universe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. And so we bless you, King of the universe, everlasting, never changing. You are. And we live in you, and in you we live and move and have our being. Amen. You guys can kind of continue to come back into this space, and we'll transition. And I'll toss it back to you, Janine.
So good, wasn't it? Amazing that every human heart has the spark of life within them, the spark of the divine, the unlimited potential of life called Jesus, Yahweh, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh within each one of us. And so we're just going to invite Laura on, but I just want to pray. Lord, I just thank you for heavenly conversations, Lord. I ask, Father, that you'll just take us into things, Lord, that you want to talk about, what's on your heart, the things that you want to unfold in creation, in our community, within each one of us, Lord. And I just honor Laura now and Mia for all that they carry, Father, all that they represent, Lord, in you, in your heart, in the place where they dwell, where they live and have their being. And
yes, God.
I pray that there'll be so much life, Lord. We engage your life, Jesus. And I thank you that it's tied up in every, we release you out of us. And I thank you that
yes,
there's something amazing when we hear the testimony from people. And I'm really honored that Laura is going to be on with us now. I can't wait to chat. So come on, Laura. Rachel's going to do there she is.
yes.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. That was beautiful, Rob. Was that your music, Rob? It was beautiful.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, so what do y'all want to talk about?
Well, I'm sure everyone probably does know who you are, but just, in case people come across this video who don't know you, we've connected, I think, probably around the similar time as we met Elizabeth, really, or started to get to know Elizabeth on a deeper level during COVID. I remember hearing your music and just hearing the sound that I know in the realm of God. That's how I describe it. I hear the frequency of Yahweh on the music that you were releasing. And I remember saying to Justin about it, and he said, "Oh yeah, I think I was at a conference with Nancy, and she was there, and she, you know, I think you'd done worship with the guy from Corn, Brian, is it?
Brian, yeah.
Yeah, and so he had met you, and I said, "Oh, I'd love to get to know Laura. Let's kind of, you know, see if we can talk about worship, because I finally had met someone else who I felt kind of carried the same heavenly throne room, is what I would say, sound like that. And we call it Ascension because we remember that's where we are. We're seated and we sing from that place. You know, we become my terminology for it is that I bring my awareness back to where I am, and that is Ascension. And when you start to kind of flow out of that, and we are all in Jesus, but we just bring our whole attention, our whole heart. And when we're kind of ministering in music, when you start to flow out of that, it does bring a weight and a governance kind of in the room. And you know, your music is all on YouTube. You release frequency music, healing music, worship. I don't know if you want to maybe share a little bit about all that you're doing on YouTube, because it's such a blessing, to be honest. I don't know. I think I must be like a zillion plays myself. We have it on constantly, do we, Rach?
Yeah, we do.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being that million yourself. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, YouTube has been really interesting because as some of you know, I came out of the music business, and I really expected, you know, if I was going to share worship, to do it the old way, to put it out on all the platforms. And the Lord was really clear with me that he wanted me to do it a different way this time. And so YouTube was a way that I could give everything away, all the music away for free, and really learn to practice living by his provision as El Shaddai. And so I think many of you know that the one time that I disobeyed and put one of my songs out on across all the platforms, within 24 hours of me doing that, it was stolen basically and pirated and re-released, which created like this huge blockchain of headaches for me. So I was like, boy, did I learn my lesson. I will never disobey the Lord again in that way. But I don't think there's a right or wrong. So I know many people have asked me, should I be doing the same thing? And I'm like, whatever he tells you, basically, because, you know, for me, it was about untethering, not being, because the truth is, as I would have even more views and more, you know, my music would go a lot wider if I was on Spotify or some of Apple Music, but it is a slave system and it is a Babylonian system. And for me, I'm not called into that right now. Now he could totally change, but what the blessings of me doing this trust journey with him has been so much fun, because now when provision comes in, which it always does, and it's always above and beyond, I always know it's him, you know, and it just reinforces that place of trust and awe and wonder that I've been called into. So that's kind of where I am with YouTube. It's been a huge blessing. I'm just now kind of branching out and into some of the other platforms, not to sell or, you know, still giving away for free, but God is definitely widening the platform this year on across the board on all levels. And that's not just me, that's all of us that he's been preparing in the secret place. there's been such an influx of um, new listeners and new people that are coming in right now that are, as I talked about recently, that have like exposure exhaustion, that are coming out of some of these ministries and systems that are being exposed as, for corruption. But the Lord is really highlighting those now that have already been broken down and gone low, and so it's a really exciting time. I say all the time, transition is messy. Family is messy, and we're kind of in that overlapping place right now. As right.
Yeah.
So
wow, yeah, that's what I love. I feel about what you're pioneering in a way is that you've known what your assignment is. I think is the language that you've used in the past, and you've stuck to that. You haven't looked to what everyone else is kind of doing, and that is so inspiring, because I think it's easy, especially when you first start, to almost look at someone else's blueprint, like how have they done it, and there's nothing wrong in doing that. I mean, I definitely always learn from other people around me. Like I remember most of the music that I grew up listening to is nothing like the sound that I carry, but in some way it mentored me. I'm talking about music now that kind of, carried the realm back in the day, like the old Morning Star stuff, which I know Laura hasn't got a clue where any of these people are, because she just went from a Presbyterian church straight into our crazy
amazing transition, that
which is so awesome. Which again is why you're so amazing, because you didn't see these people kind of you haven't modeled yourself on anyone. But I think that is sort of something that we need to learn how to do in a deeper way, and more like that plumb line, like you said, it is the narrow way, but in that way is all the synergy. It's the way I kind of used to see it is like it's a narrow way, but actually I see it now as being in the optimum flow of what Yahweh has for you. And if you can kind of be in that space within your creativity, everything you're in rest. It's all opening up for you. You're not striving, and you're not in that comparison thing that can so often happen with creatives, where we compare ourselves to other people, or we don't think we're as good, or and I feel like we've got to come to a place. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Anyone can chip in, Elizabeth and Tanya or Rob, Rachel, if you've got anything to add. But it's almost like, I feel like it's like that precious oil of his presence that God's put in us, and by sticking to what he says, the oil's able to kind of flow out really, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, knowing your assignment for me, has been really, maybe it's because the ADD thing, it's been really important for me to stay focused, stay in my lane, and not be like caught up in, fullness. It's been about fullness for me, because when I had that encounter with Jonah, that was his biggest message to me, was never settle for anything less than the fullness of what God is having for you. So where I've been in the last few years has really been about engaging the realm of created light, where I am accessing and understanding God's original binary code, the sum of his original thoughts for something. So whether it has to do with the restoration of all things, it has to do, so whether it would be instruments, the original function and desire for the Father, the reason that he presented that instrument, whether it would be parts of creation. So when I would engage through worship, I would be accessing his the mind of Christ, the sum of his thoughts over that land, over that region, over that animal, over that sound. So over the original frequency, the uncorrupted version of that frequency. So that's kind of where I've really kept my focus and stayed really open to engaging his binary code, dancing with the living letters that are the sum of his original intention for something, and being able to somehow release that on my breath, and letting that come through me and back over something to call forth its original intention, and to almost like I believe that we can release his original frequency over something that almost entrains that back into its original intention. But we can't do that unless we ourselves have spent time in the beginning, where in that that space, that realm of the beginning. So that's kind of where he has had me, and but lately he's been taking me into the realm of uncreated light. Where is and it's interesting because that's come through the discipline of meditating and waking up. He always, discipline is never required. It's not like a works thing that we do, but it does help demonstrate to him that your intention, right? It's an outworking of an intention. So I have been, for the last, I don't know, 6 months, have been intentionally getting up really early and the reason that I believe people say to get up early to meditate is because your brain is still in the alpha state, which is a highly creative state, and you haven't gone into the beta, the processing part of your brain. So you're still really open to receive. And I purposely stay in that place for at least an hour every morning. And as I've been engaging the quantum field in that state, I have been going to places that I don't really have language for yet. And I believe that we're going to go in, we're on our way into that place. It has to do with Abraham leaving everything he knows and leaving his previous, even the DNA doesn't always, I think, relate to your physical DNA. It can also relate to your creative DNA. It can also relate to your spiritual DNA. So it's like I felt the cycle coming around again. So I'm now in that place where he's bringing that around. I don't know what the outworking of that creatively is going to be yet. I know that I am feeling this constant like momentum or thrust forward for new visuals, new sounds, new and it's less about the it's less about where I've been, which is about the original intent. And it's partnering with him in new, he calls it the architecture of sound. So engaging, and I see a lot of it in sacred geometry. So just really building the geometric structures of him around me, building his nature around me as the cube, building, the mountain, his bench around me as a mountain, as the pyramid. So basically building all these structures and really focusing on tuning my seals, my energy centers. And I know we all have lots of different words for them, and it doesn't matter because they're 7 different brains that all have their own minds and patterns and systems. There's 7 systems that they come under. I'm pretty sure, I haven't gone deep into that. Maybe some of you guys know that it's also connected to the 7 churches, but inside of us. So I'm in the process of learning how to tune in the way that he is instructing me to tune my energy centers, which is maybe unique for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's maybe a form of groaning, but it's not groaning, because groaning would, I always tell Nancy, she's like, you got to get into the groaning. And I'm like, I would ruin my voice if I was groaning like you did every day.
Don't do it.
Yeah, so it's a new way. So yeah.
I've been seeing a similar thing, really, but I'm not sure kind of what language to give it either. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes we mustn't get caught up in the semantics of stuff, but just, if anything doesn't resonate with you guys, it's okay, because what we're doing is we're opening up a conversation for each of us to kind of talk to the Lord and ask him, like, how does this work with me? But I've been seeing a similar thing in a way in when I've been engaging with Jesus, and that is, like, he's shown me, for instance, that I put veils on my heart. That's the way he showed it to me, and that actually where he wants us to live in a way where there's nothing between us and people, the way that there's nothing between him and us, and that can be in our thinking, which could be how some people think of an energy center. It could be in our how authentic we are, the more natural and authentic to our sound and what we believe and what we say. All of these things start to open up, and you hear it on our voices, don't you? The more real somebody's being, that's why when you talk to somebody and something's not quite right, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can, you might not completely know, but. And so I think I love that really what we're learning is in our creativity is really how are we going to become more like him? That's how I see it. We're becoming more like him. And, I love learning like all these different ways that God speak to us all individually. And I've also seen the momentum recently. We've got a picture which I'll put on the edit later, which is like a golden wheel. It was above the stage, if anyone kind of watches our worship for a while. It was basically, I saw it before I went to South Africa last year, and the Lord said to me that it's not by our might or by our power, but it's by his spirit. And there's something that's been released in that realm as we engage with him that is what he is kind of putting on stuff at the moment, and we can feel it, we can see it, it's coming out on creativity. Like that's, we were joking earlier how we call you a music machine, because it's like you seem to put out so much content, but not in it's just the fruit of what you're engaging with him. Like, how do you know like what to put out and what not to put out, Laura?
Well, it's part of, listen, I'm going to be totally honest. I wish I am in process of being this way in every area of my life. But when it comes to creativity, maybe it's an anointing, maybe it was, maybe it's just that I truly trust that the river is always flowing, and that, like Timothy, if I open my mouth, I will, in fact, the less I prepare, the better. And so, and it comes, that's a 360 or a 180 for me, because when I was younger, I was terrified that inspiration, that I had to like do something special, all these, all these acrobatic like machinations to have creativity and inspiration. But I have really let go of that, and I really truly believe that it is so our nature, everyone's nature is creativity. Oh my God, so funny. Kevin is groaning. If you hear any weird noises, he's growling at the door, and his little paw is like coming under the doorway.
We can't hear him, don't worry.
Okay, good. But yeah, I do believe that. So there's never any fear of, I just showed up at the studio yesterday. And I showed up at the studio yesterday with Richie, and I was like, I have a title. Let's go. And so, and like, I'm even willing to like put money down on and trust the process. So yeah, that's why I just let it flow.
Wow, that's awesome. I can't imagine like turning up at a studio and not having like a whole song. I've done it with part of a song, like I've had an idea and the producer nearly freaked out. He was like, "You haven't written the song yet." I was like, "Just play the track and I'll sing." That was how harmony got written. That was
amazing.
But like you, it's like, the thing is this is why we call this group Union Flow Artists, is because it's out of our union that river flows, and the river's never dry. What I find more difficult is just having the wisdom sometimes to know, like, I've got to go deep in this revelation before I put it out there. So, my album Dazzling, it took ages because there were some things I was still kind of engaging in, and I've learned to enjoy, and it will be different for different modalities of art, but or expressions of art. But like for me, I've learned to enjoy the journey, like if I'm crafting something, because that in that process I've grown in my union, in my craft, what I'm doing, but also in the beauty of the revelation that he's actually speaking to me. Like it becomes part of the sound. And my personality type is I'm like, I like to get things done, so I've had to kind of work a little bit more backwards and being more, it's okay to take longer and to let it breathe. And I'm not in a rush. And actually meditations really help me with that, because I'm not naturally wired that way. I love getting stuff done. Like that is actually a vibe and brings me joy. I'm definitely like, there's nothing better than ticking a to-do list for me. But
well, and some things are prophetic. They literally come through you. And then when they're released, you're like, oh, I haven't engaged that yet, but I bet I'm gonna. And some sounds have set up in you, and frequencies have set up in us, and we're releasing from that overflow of the experience. So I think I used to be like, oh, wait, I have to let this totally set up in me. And at that time, that was wisdom.
Yeah.
But now I'm finding that I can just let things come through me and be like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm about to be stepping into that.
That's being in the flow, isn't it? Because sometimes like you sing about something that you think, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to find out, and it takes you deeper into that place. And I remember talking to Nancy about that once. Actually, she said a lot of what she releases is intuitive, and she actually other people help her understand the message that she's carrying. Sometimes she, you know, especially when it's something new that goes out and actually brings like a new wave or a new part of God that he's releasing. Like, you know, I remember when she started doing the sound thing, you know, I call it the Holy Ghost roller coaster that she does. So I feel like it's like, I shut my eyes and everyone feels like they're going on a roller coaster, which I love.
Another, I'm really into visuals because I'm personally very visual. So one of the things that the Lord has been showing me is that the ancient paths that are in scripture are really the neural pathways in the mind of Christ. So I have been visually, anytime, let's say, if someone feels stuck or if they want to engage the knowledge of Christ, a good visual for that is walking in the spirit with the spirit of wisdom and with Yeshua, and literally visualizing the pathways of light. And sometimes as you do that, you will literally see them like begin to manifest in front of you, and it's just for me, it's a visual jumping off place that I can always do, because wisdom does want to walk us on these ancient pathways in the heights.
Come on. Yeah, I love that. I love, and that's why I love the practice of thinking about worship as ascension, because it takes you beyond your mind and your thoughts into his thoughts, his ways. His ways are higher, so much higher than ours. And, you know, we come into that space where he changes our mind with the waves and breakers of his thoughts. And it's such a beautiful thing to do in worship, in creativity, in, you know, however we're engaging him. Has anyone else got any questions for Laura, or shall I? I've got a big long list, but
just keep it flowing.
Yeah. I was wondering, Laura, like when you worship and you release, how do you actually feel like the realm of God and his presence kind of come around you, or how do you see in the spirit? How does that work for you? And when was the first time that actually happened for you?
So the first time it happened was, I don't know how many years ago. You know, we get all these amazing Forerunner experiences. So I was at Liberty University. I think that's a big Christian university in America. And I was at Liberty, and I was asked to come do traditional worship in their chapel on like a Saturday. And I went, and I had 3 background singers and a drummer. And the drummer had been totally in the world of the supernatural and then had a lot of experiences. I hadn't. So I was doing one of my own original songs, and literally time stopped, and this curtain peeled back, and for probably 20 seconds, I could hear heaven singing with me. I could see things that I have still to this day don't have words for. It was literally it was heaven singing with me, with sounds, instruments that I had no grid for. And as I didn't know that as it was happening, a frequency had come into the room so strong that the cymbal on my drummer's kit rippled. It literally like everyone saw it rippled and then fell over to the ground. And the singers like fell out in the spirit, which scared the you know what out of me, because I'd never seen that. I've never seen that, you know. So that was my first encounter with that. And then also there's a little interesting story that I've never really shared before. Yeshua reminded me, um, I really believe that Yeshua reveals himself to every one of us
Mm.
at some point in the natural.
Mm.
And I think 95% of us just don't recognize it, maybe till recognize him until later. So I had just gotten sober and I was a mess and on every level. And I was in the rooms of recovery and I just started going to this like AA meeting. And we were in Westchester County, New York, which is very like upscale suburban like county. So that's important because everyone was super bougie even in my AA group. Okay. And so in the doorway, this was probably my third day in AA. I was just getting to know it, and I was such a mess. Nobody prepared me for the absolute noise in my head when I got sober, which are all those frequencies. So, in the door walks this homeless looking guy with a beard that really didn't look like he had any place in like an AA group. He looked like he should be in like NA or like heroin. Like he was really dirty and messy. And he walked in and he went straight for me. And there were other people around me. And he goes, "Hey, can I tell you this story?" And I remember he had the most beautiful blue eyes, which was really messing with my head because he looked so busted up and he looked like a hobo, you know. So he says, "I got to tell you the story." And he goes, "A long time ago, my mother was really, really abusive to me. And she pushed me down a flight of stairs. And when I landed at the bottom of the stairs, I went into another realm." Okay, so this is like language no one was even using. This was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I went into another realm and I departiculated. And when I reparticulated, I was pure love. And I looked up at her and I saw her for who she was through God's eyes, and I forgave her. I'm getting chills like listening to it even now. And then he turned around and walked out the door and never came back.
Wow.
And to this day, like I kept looking for him, like, who is that guy? Now, I thought that had to be an angel, but now I think that was Yeshua because of his eyes are so similar. But what I didn't know at that, what he was talking about at that time was I hadn't dealt with any of my mother issues yet at that time. And I had a lot of unforgiveness and bitterness in my heart. And of course, that's the first thing he mentions. And then a couple weeks later is when all this supernatural stuff started happening to me. And I did fall down the stairs. And when I did get pushed down a flight of stairs, I got a massive healing on my arm that I've talked about before, that my husband was able to like witness the miracle. So that was the first time I think he laid a foundation for union for me. That departiculation and reparticulation. And what's so funny is I had never seen Star Trek, but after that I saw Star Trek and I saw that they did. I was like, that's it. That's what he was talking about. So there was a foundation of union laid, and I think the Lord, I'm not special. This has happened in some way to almost all of us. And it's about awareness. It's literally about tuning in to him in everything. And I think even with creativity, that's seeing him in everything and everyone is an awareness issue. because he already is. So it's the more we do that, the more creativity begins to flow, because he is, and it is, because we begin to then, if we see him in everything and everyone, and he is in us 100%, then we begin to manifest that, and then he begins to show up on our breath, on our words, in our art.
Yeah.
So, but it's awareness is the key.
I love those stories of when I remember growing up. I've got a few of them, which I won't go into now, but I love telling them, because there's just, because like you've had an encounter, and heaven has, or Jesus, or maybe it could be angelic, has encountered you in this realm. And they are so powerful. You can always remember them like they were yesterday. And they're really markers usually. Like I know that of the few times where that's happened in my life, they have propelled me on like a different depth of journey that I've gone to, of pivotal more points in my life. And I think that, there's, God really does come into our lives. He really does. It says in Proverbs, we order our steps. A man can plan in his heart, but God orders his steps. And I love that. I love knowing that, there's those moments where, you can't miss it. God's connects you. One of the songs on Dazzling that I wrote, called Guide My Way, it says, he knows our thoughts before we think them. And he knows everything about us. He knows our future, he knows our past, he knows our present. And it feels like sometimes there are these divine moments where he conspires to get you, wherever you need to be for the fullness of time. I think I remember you saying on when we chatted on the Sacred Ecstasy podcast, you talked about there's these fullness of time moments. What is it?
And could I just say really quickly that I think all of us have those sovereign encounters. Definitely. Where he's divinely taken us in the spirit or shown something to us. But now we're in a time where, in order to make that, as Nancy says, stable and predictable, that we can now, especially through meditation, position ourselves, and through, like Elizabeth was saying, breath work, position ourselves for those things to happen, to become who we actually are. And we don't have to wait any longer for a sovereign encounter. Now it becomes who we are, but we have to position ourselves for that to happen.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, it's open, isn't it? That's the thing, is that Jesus has opened the door. He is the door, and we can have those moments it's so easy. Like we were doing that meditation earlier. It's so close. Every person has that divine spark of life, which is Yahweh within them. And but like you say, awareness and intention and tuning in, or however you want to, use whatever language you like. There's no wrong or right. It's just the practice of remembering where we are, who he is, and enjoying him, and all the beauty of who he is unfolds from that.
And using that language, divine spark, is great too, because the yod, which is the divine spark, is also the number 10, which is a binary code. So just positioning and turning your heart intention toward the yod actually opens up the binary code of creativity. So
that's very cool. That's very cool. I wanted to chat to you about the lion because when you came to America, we had our creative space frequency exhibition, and we had Mia, who was an artist. We'll bring Mia on now, and she painted this lion. And I remember you had told me before the conference that that's where you were at the time, and that's what you'd been engaged in. I think you did a little amazing video on your channel about it as well. But I thought, hey, Mia, welcome.
Hey, Mia.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Do you have a picture of the lion,
Yeah.
Mia, on you?
Do you guys have it, Janine?
Yeah, I can
You
hopefully
do?
share
Okay.
my screen. Let's see. Compressed might better.
Yeah, up until this time, we did a few Zooms for Joy Fest,
Can you see
and
that?
kind of
Yeah.
Oh, it's showing. Do you want to press the play, Janine, at the top?
top one up.
I'll stop sharing a minute. I think I've somehow minimized it. Let me just see.
That's okay.
Well, I'd been engaging the frequency and the nature of the lion, and I had been before Joy Fest for like 2 months straight, and I had been given this new, oh, there it is, so gorgeous. I'd been given this new angel called Ariel, which is the fiery lioness of Yahweh, and is a fire angel, and also has to do with the altar of our hearts. So I'd been going deep into the belly of the lion of Judah and the lion of Yahweh's nature, lion, ox, eagle, man. And I've been going like just engaging and marinating in his roar over and over. And he'd been taking me into his mouth, and I'd be hanging off one of his fangs and lying on his tongue. And like he would just roar over me, and I would feel his roar go through my whole body. And I had never had that happen to me before. And I knew it was particularly for Joy Fest. And I was like, I feel I'm coming in like a fire lion to Joy Fest. How is that going to work? Are they going to, am I going to like ruin? I don't want to ruin the vibe or anything, because what they've, curated is so perfect. So, but that I walked in, and Mia, I would love to hear. I saw this immediately, and I was like, I don't care what it takes. I have to have that. Mia, do you? I was just so glad that I was let in early to do sound check, or else someone else would have snagged it immediately.
Yeah, let's get Mia on.
Oh, that cloud's amazing.
Oh yeah, I know. Hey Mia, welcome.
Hey.
How do you pronounce your surname? I'm too scared to say it just in case I butcher it.
Lucero.
Yeah.
Lucero.
Oh. We love having your art in the creative space community, and when you share it, there's so much frequency, and I know, feel free to chip in, Tanya, any point. Our amazing artist Tanya, she really helps us with all the frequency exhibitions and art, really mentors all the artists within creative space. So honored to have you, Tanya, with us. But yeah, I am blown away by the art that is happening within our community. And like Laura said, you just see it and you carry a frequency. And I think, to be honest, Laura beat everyone to it. I think I would have been tempted as well, because that lion, I don't know, there was something on it. And so I just thought it would be cool for you to just share, about the lion specifically, and then maybe we'll look at other pictures and kind of talk a bit about your art generally as well. But what was it about what you were feeling when you painted that amazing lion?
I had been exploring the emotions of God through lions I had already been doing it for a year, and so I was into the second year. And the first year, I just spent the whole year pretty much on one painting, and just went through all these different emotions in this one lion. And I remember at one point even just like hitting the canvas with paint, and like it was just such an emotional experience. It was almost like he was being crucified and I was the one doing it, and it was such an intense painting. It almost wouldn't be finished. I almost couldn't finish it, So it stayed on my easel for a year, and I kept working it through all these different faces of this lion. And so then the next year I started doing more lions, and I started to find Jesus in Judges 14 in the story of Samson, where Samson kills the lion and leaves him, and then comes back through there later and turns aside to see the lion and finds that there's a honeycomb inside the lion's body. So I started to see Jesus as the lion who is killed, and from his body comes the sweetness for our lives, And so that's when I was painting Laura's painting, which is named Samson's Riddle, because the riddle is out of the eater comes something to eat, out of the strong comes something sweet, And it's just this picture of the lion-hearted God who is so fierce and mighty, but yet is so tender and just full of sweetness for our lives, in that is kind of these different faces. And one is the Father's heart for the Son. One is Jesus's heart for us, it's just kind of this multidimensional painting. But yeah, when Laura approached me at Joy Fest, it was just such an honor for me, and it was my first time showing my art to a community of believers, really. I'm in a gallery here in North Carolina, and my audience or my clientele is not believers, but they're still moved by the paintings. They sense the Lord on it, and they tell me, there's something spiritual about this painting, or there's, this painting is just something like something of God is on it. I've had people say that, but coming to Joy Fest was just such an incredible experience, because people would come to me and just be weeping and just so connected, because they already knew the Lord, and so their view of the paintings was just even more rich and deep. And so when Laura came to me, it was just so awesome. I was just like, I would love you to have this painting, and it meant so much to me. And then throughout the whole course of Joy Fest, I had just so many people come up and ask about the painting. And I think it would have been gone, so many people connected with it. So I am happy that, that you came right up to me. But yeah, so Joy Fest just was such an awesome experience for me as an artist, just to be there and to meet so many people and to see how my art moved so many people. So.
Yeah, it's such a powerful piece. And another thing that's crazy about lions, did you guys know that the vocal cords of lions are different? They're square. Every other animal, including humans, has triangular vocal cords, but the lion has square, and the cube has to do with boundaries. And the reason it was really significant for Joy Fest was Yahweh was rewriting and repurposing and reorganizing some boundaries during that time at Joy Fest. So, but it's such a beautiful piece, and your heart shines so powerfully through your art. I love everything you do.
Yeah. I think for me, with your blue lion, I want to ask you why you used blue, because everybody has an encounter with color, and we all know that color plays a specific role and it has a specific frequency as well. And, like with Laura playing music and stuff. So what made you choose blue specifically? Because we would normally resonate with warmer colors rather than the cooler colors. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, most of my art is warm colors, so it was different. I think it was just the depth of emotion that I was trying to portray. And it wasn't necessarily sadness, but it was just a very deep, like, heartfelt emotion, and blue just felt right for it,
Well, can I just say quickly, as you can see my walls, so when the Lord was teaching me about color, This particular color is the spirit of knowledge. And the
Knowledge.
spirit of knowledge has to do with mental health issues and like emotions. And so it's the color that has to do the most with my assignment. And so I wonder if that's why it resonated for me, that color. But I don't know if that's the reason that you chose it.
It was painted for you, probably.
Sure. Thank you.
Oh. Well, the color blue as well, just with what Laura is saying, is that blue specifically, it has an indigo tone to it. And the indigo also represents to be under the cover of his love.
Nice.
And even within your lion, there's a maturity in the face of your lion. And that's what I think I saw the first time when I looked at it. There's this full circle, this maturity thing. So now that you shared your story on going through with the lions, and also it's interesting, Mia, that you were talking about like how you were going through the layers. And Janine, what you were talking about earlier with sound and how you have to sit in your sound before you release it. I think, Mia, you can come in with that as well. But I think with us as artists that create, we paint in those layers as we go through our artwork before it goes through what we would call the ugly stage. Or the teenage stage. And there's also the sitting within our artwork as well, that I think that builds the frequency of the layers and the colors and the sound. Because for me, when I release my art, it's not just a picture, it has a vibrational sound to it. So whether we sing or whether we paint or whether we draw or whatever it is, the sound that comes with it, and even with your painting, like it carried the sound for Joyfest, like what Laura was engaging. So I think this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful. I want to show one of your other pictures as well. So you mentioned that because if anyone follows you, Mia, on Facebook, everyone wants your life. It looks so amazing with all the animals. You live is it South or North Carolina?
North Carolina.
On a farm, is it with animals?
Yeah.
And your husband, and how many children have you got?
We've got two.
Two. Yeah. Your Instagram pictures are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Show some of I love this picture.
I love that. Wow.
Now I know Sue, probably if she's still on. So I know it's in Sue's book. Is this the one that's in Sue's book, or is this a different one, Mia?
This is in Dancing with Mem.
The
poetry book.
Yeah, we've had Sue.
Which, by the way, I'm going to be doing a short. Sue sent me 2 of her poetry books, and I'm going to be doing a short video on them. I'm so excited to see them. So,
wow. Brilliant.
Love it.
Yeah, so I got to see this picture when I was in South Africa because Sue had all her books, and she had this picture out. And again, with like the lion, really, there's just a frequency on it.
Yeah.
You stop sharing. Wow. See you again, but yeah. So what was happening with that? I love the cloud as well. This, for me, actually, I'm in that place in the spirit right now. Actually, when we were in South Africa, the last session that we had, Justin was kind of arcing in the worship, and he started to have an encounter. I'm not sure if it was Elijah or what he was seeing. But I was in this other place where I was seeing how we're going to get clothed in the cloud of God's presence, that God, like the realm that is actually coming on us. And then afterwards I saw that picture and I was like, oh, there's so much glory on that.
Yeah. So Sue had asked me to illustrate some of the poems in her book. And when I read that poem about the cloud, I just want to read it for a minute. It's really short, but it just, like, I knew I had to illustrate it because a few months earlier, I had had a dream where I heard this humming sound, and it was really loud, and I was outside, and I thought it must be an airplane, so I was looking around for it, and I see this cloud, and that's all there is. So I was looking at this puffy pink cloud up in the sky, and all of a sudden I was just zoomed up there, and I was there at the cloud, and it was just deafening. It was so loud. And I think it was just an invitation to the cloud, you know. I was being invited, and it was really a living cloud. I really don't have words for it, but it was amazing. It was there, you know, there was life in that cloud, and I feel like it was people, but I don't know. I feel like it might have been a lot of witnesses. I'm not sure. But then when I read Sue's poem, so this is her book, Dancing.
Oh, yeah, beautiful book.
Here's the cloud.
Wow. Love it.
And so the poem is The Cloud. The cloud is moving all around in the presence of your sound, swirling all around as you move within me, the atmosphere of you consuming all within. So I thought it was amazing that it talks about the sound in connection with the cloud. And so then illustrating it, I just felt like I needed to put the faces in there. And I don't know if you noticed the faces in the cloud, but there's 3 faces, and they're all in profile.
I'll share it again.
Yeah, share it again, Jenny.
So they're a little bit hidden, but if you look, you can kind of make them out.
So amazing.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, so they are just part of the cloud of witnesses in there.
Yeah, there's what I'm fascinated a little bit by within our community is the overlapping between what God kind of engages us with, and it's almost like I feel on a very small level, a micro level, we have it in the group where we've had you know, somebody write a poem, and then somebody's posted a piece of art, and then, you know, I'm quite interested in the themes, because sometimes like God will, you know, that's something that will come out of me when I'm just kind of in that worship flow. But I can see there's something in that I know is connected to what we're moving into now, in that it's actually going to happen, not just in the micro, but in the macro, and that there's going to be God revealing himself in a way that is so seen, like, and I feel like I catch little glimpses of it. Do you know what I mean? And the cloud is of one of the, when I was young in worship, when I'm talking about 5 or 6, I used to hear the sound of people worshiping. I went to a charismatic church, and I would close my eyes and I would see this cloud, and I would see like people streaming up into the cloud, and I knew the cloud was God, and I knew that every need that everyone had was met, and they would come out of the cloud. You know, since I can't remember which passage in Isaiah says, you know, come let us go up into the mountain of the Lord, Neil teaches our ways, and it talks about the streams of people in Isaiah. So I know, actually, as you know, when I've engaged it as an adult, the Lord has kind of shown me, you know, it's in his word, and it's scriptural. But I used to be fascinated by the clouds, and I just feel like, you know, we're going to be clothed in this realm of God that is very cloud-like. The frequency of whatever the cloud is a part of what. So I really loved that picture. And again, it's interesting that you use blue again. Yeah. And we've got another one of your pictures. Let's just show this one as well. You said this one was your latest one.
Yeah.
So I can make my screen big again. You said that the paint is still wet on this one.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love
So
all the texture.
Yeah, I did.
thank you.
Really
I wanted to show this one because I've just been on this interesting, really fun exploration with the Hebrew letters. I'm gonna see, I have a few things written. I just wanted to look at with it. Yeah, so in the Jewish mystical writings like the Zohar and the Midrash and the Sefer Yetzirah, they all talk about how the letters were the means by which God created the heavens and the earth, and how he created through the letters. And then, we have the book of John, where in chapter 1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and all things were made by him, right? And without him was not anything made that was made. So we see Jesus as the creator of the heavens and the earth. And in the mystical writings, the letters are how God created the earth. So I've just been in that place of just thinking about that, and just exploring this idea that Jesus hid himself in the letters, and they were the facets of his being, that he was wrapped in as the Word. And even how he's he's the communication of God to humanity. And so I think of these letters almost like it was so cool how Elizabeth was talking about the spectrum, because I've just been seeing that Jesus as light is refracted into these prismatic colors, that I think we can see the letters as colors, And I had a dream, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I saw this this bunny named Roy G. Biv, which a lot of you might know, that is the acronym for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And so this bunny was just hopping around looking for a carrot. And when I woke up, I knew it had to do with the fact that I always see myself going on these little rabbit trails. And I'm always, just wondering and asking the Lord, is that okay that I'm just on this rabbit trail of going like a mile deep and an inch wide and one little thing, And I knew that this was the Lord's message to me to say, go on the rabbit trail, with this Roy G. Biv. And so I asked him about it when I woke up, and I just heard as above, so below. So I was thinking, well, what is above that would be like the color spectrum, And I just thought of the 7 spirits immediately. And so I was thinking about that, and I started thinking about colors, and I had been on this journey of asking the Lord, what is the heart of my art? What do you want the purpose of my art to be, What is kind of the just the thing that would define my art and kind of the reason for it, And so then I had this dream, and I felt like it was an invitation. And I had also been feeling this kind of this push to move into color more, which a lot of my work is very monochromatic. Like the lion is it's just blue, really blue and black, And so a lot of my work is just browns. And so when I had this dream, I started exploring it, and I actually started thinking about the letters as colors, and thinking about, that maybe that's why the mystics venerate the letters so much and just see them as these beings, which I think they are. I think they exist as beings, and I think as above, so below, even with the letters, that they are shadows. The letters we see are shadows of the actual letters that exist in heaven. And I saw that with the menorah in the temple, and in the tabernacle. It's this menorah, but we also know in Revelation it's the 7 spirits of God, and I think that they like Elizabeth said, they do have colors that they can reveal themselves through. And also just around the throne, there's this rainbow, and I feel like it's the colors of the light of God going to the seven spirits and then bouncing back. And it's this rainbow effect. And so I've just been in this place of, thinking about all these things. And so, and now I'm just on this journey of incorporating the letters into my art, and I've actually made this little color wheel. See.
Oh, very cool.
That has the letters.
Yeah.
And part of it was because when I woke up from the Roy G. Biv dream, I started to see the seven spirits laid out like this with red at the top. And so I thought, well, I would love to put the mother letters as the primaries, but that didn't work. So, because they're not equidistant like the primaries are. So let me start at least with Aleph and make Aleph red. And I think it's cool that Mem is a bluish color and Shin is purple, because in the tabernacle, it wasn't the primaries so much that were important. It was scarlet, blue, and purple. And so I think it's kind of fitting that the mother letters ended up being those three, And so now when I work, I've just been on this little exploration of starting with a letter, and asking the Lord, what letter does he want for this painting? And sometimes I feel a color first, and then I'll look at the painting later and match up the colors and see what the letters are and what God is speaking over the painting, So that's kind of been my little exploration. And so this painting that you just showed, the sunrise, has come out of that. And it's a photograph that my husband took of a sunrise here at our property. And as I started painting it, I just started engaging Raish as the gatekeeper. And there was a reason for that, and I might get into that later, but I've just been seeing the gates through my art, that it is meant to have gates and portals, It's meant to be a gate and a portal that can be a place of connection between heaven and earth. So with this painting, I started painting it, and then I thought, I think I should engage Raish as the gatekeeper. And actually Sue Potgieter kind of brought me into that, because she mentioned, Raish is the gatekeeper. I was like, I'm working on a painting right now. Let me engage Raish, And so I did. And as I did, I realized in the bottom of this painting is the color that I have for Raish, which is this dark light here. And so I just kept working with it. And as I started working with the sunrise, I thought of that verse in Malachi, unto you who fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. And I just began to sing that song over it. And I literally sang the song all day long as I painted this. And then I started thinking, wow, I wonder if Raish is revealing itself in this painting as a word. And I immediately thought of the word Rapha, which starts with Raish and means healing. So it just felt like all this was tying together. And then as I looked back on the painting, I realized it's almost like a wing that's stretched out in the form of a cloud, And then I don't know if Sheila is on this call, but our friend Sheila was the very next day after I painted this, she wrote that entire verse in one of our little chats. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. Actually, I was still working on it when she wrote it. And I thought that was so cool. I felt like all these parts of this painting were coming together, and that the Lord was revealing this painting as a portal of healing, So that, and I think of like the brass serpent in the Bible, and that was actually a work of art that the people were to look upon to receive healing. And I feel like he's giving us works of art now that can be gates and portals like that serpent was. That serpent was really a portal into heaven. It was a portal to engage with, not like a magic charm or holy water or something like that, but it was a point of connection. And I think as artists, we can create works that can become a point of connection for the viewer. Like it's like a partnership between the artist and the viewer, to step through a gate. It's like we can present it and people can decide if they want to connect with it and engage with it. And I think that goes for musicians and dancers and all of us really. But I've been seeing this almost like a Jacob's ladder, and I think Jacob even said, this is the house of God and the gate of heaven, And I think that's what our art is becoming, it's becoming these gates and these portals where we can invite people in and they can engage and they can start to step through gates. And that's what I'm asking for with my art, that people can step through gates and receive healing, and receive even like the overshadowing presence of the Lord. The two behind me are two more that I just did this week, and they are other portals that I started with one with Kaf, and it ended up this big weighty cloud of glory, and it was the kabod, and so I think just going back to the gates and portals, as I've just been engaging the Lord for what my art should look like and what is the heart behind it, I fell asleep, and that's when the idea for this color wheel came. Fell asleep thinking about pairing the color wheel with the letters. It was kind of just a thought that came to me just before I fell asleep. And then I dreamed that I was going to a conference and I was unloading my art, and it was some sort of creative conference, maybe creative space or something, and I was unloading my art, and there was this little girl when I walked into this conference center, and she was tiny. I mean, she was like, probably less than 3 feet tall. And she met me and she said, "I know who you are." And I was like, okay, and she's like, "You're from New Jersey and you make gates." And I thought, well, she's wrong about me being from New Jersey. I'm not. But that's interesting that she thinks I make gates. And that had never occurred to me yet with my art, And so I said, "Well, how do you know?" And she pointed to my art portfolio, which was like a wine-colored fabric. And it was huge. And she said, "I know because of your suitcase." And she was just using little girl language for my portfolio. She's like, "I know because of your suitcase, but it's tiny." And it didn't make sense, because how would she know because of my portfolio and it's not tiny? And so I woke up, and the part that stuck with me was the gates. And I thought, okay, that's awesome. That is God speaking to me and showing me that I make gates with my art. Like I make portals. My art can be a connection between heaven and earth, And about a week later, I was thinking about the New Jersey part, and I realized, a jersey is a garment that you wear that's stretchy. I don't know if you call them that in the UK, but we have jerseys here. Yeah. And a new jersey is a new garment that's stretchy. And I realized it's a new wineskin. And the portfolio was wine colored. And I realized that she said it was tiny because it's going to need to be huge. It's going to be expanded like crazy. And so that's why it needs to be a new wineskin. And I think that goes for all of us as artists. I think this is a time where we are going to be just expanded. Our art is going to be, it's going to be gates and portals for people. And we can be in this place of creating these gates and portals for people to meet the Lord in different ways. And I feel like the Hebrew letters as facets of Jesus and of the heart of God are ways for us to just to take these different parts of the Lord, like healing or like the glory cloud or whatever, and to have him, like for me, it's ways that he can speak to me and start me with a letter, because sometimes I just don't know where I'm going with a painting. And then that gives me a step, and then I can add other colors, and then it can start to expand, and then I might see a word coming out of it, but yeah, so that's kind of where I've been with it.
Wow, that's so much in that. My mind's just going, wow. because I think what's interesting about art, like I was referencing with a cloud, sometimes it can spark what the conversation that people might not even really be aware that God's been having with them, and
Yeah.
that's the interesting thing, is that these things mean different things to different people, and it can awaken the conversation that Yahweh's been having with people. And I totally agree. I feel like there is something awesome coming on art, music, poetry. I think that we're in the time of mass creativity, which is God revealing his wonder and his beauty, as Elizabeth so amazingly spoke about so many times. And I totally see that expansion too happening. It is around the time where we should land it. What, any thoughts, Rachel or Elizabeth? Or
Oh, it's just so rich, man. It's so beautiful, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. Like the Lord's been talking to me about expansion a lot recently. So where you landed that, Mia, was just so beautiful.
yeah.
I've been in Laura's song Trustful. So when you go into expansion, what do? You just trust in him, yeah? And just fall into Yeshua's lap and just let him lead you, and just
Yeah.
enjoy the trustful into him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so that's where I've been at. And thank you, Mia. It's beautiful art, and Laura, love your worship and everything that you bring to the table. And I'll see you at the end of March.
Yeah.
So excited.
How can people connect with your art, Mia? Is it just on Facebook? You've got a website, haven't you, as well?
Yeah. MiaLucero.com.
Mm.
And my Facebook is Mia Lucero Art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to put one of your paintings in my house. I've got this vision of like just this highway of art being all going global and all over the world, because I just think it's like music. It carries a frequency. I've already got a lot in my house. My husband's going to ban me, I think, at the next creative space gallery. But isn't it amazing that there's just so much beautiful things that we can have that resonate the frequency of Yahweh's heart in our homes, in our lives. And thank you, Laura. You are awesome. I love you so much, and all that you bring.
Thank you all. Thank you. It's so exciting. It's an honor to be here. We're all just get ready. We're at that place where whole stadiums are gonna go up at once together. And we're getting ready we've had a lot of visitations. We're now ready for the habitation. So he will only rest his government on that looks like him. And so we are get ready.
Yeah.
Love that, Laura.
Yeah. Thank you, Father, for everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Lord, everything that your breath is upon, Lord, all that expansion, Father, that Rachel's been engaging, Lord, and Mia, we're ready for it. We're up for it. We want to see you in your fullness and your beauty in the earth and in the heavens, in our lives, in all that we do, Lord, in everything and everywhere that we look. We want to see you. We want to see your heart, your ways, the frequency of life and glory. And just thank you for Mia, Lord. Thank you for Laura with the music. And I thank you for every single person, Father, in our creative space community. I thank you, Lord, that we're all a part of the beautiful tapestry that you are just weaving and unfolding and unraveling in the earth, Lord. And we love you. We love being part of your kingdom, what you're doing, what you're about, Lord. Is so glorious. And I just pray that everyone will just sense, Lord, momentum, expansion into the deeper places of who you are, Lord. Thank you, Father. So until next month, guys, we shall see you. We're going to be seeing you in March because we had a Selah in January. we needed to recover after our busy year. But yeah, come and be part of Joy Fest. We'd love to see you. Go to Israel with Elizabeth. I'm going to go at some point.
Yes.
And yeah, we love you. So let's unmute and just say goodbye, because you guys are awesome. We love seeing your faces.
Everybody.
Shalom.
Thank you.
We love you all.
God bless. Blessings to you all.
Bye.
You guys.
Bless you.
Bye, guys.